Do you think you have what it takes to be a soldier? Would you even want to be one? Today, we'll take a look at the lives of soldiers in this episode of Fun Info Fact 50 Facts. We'll compare the experiences of American and British soldiers. There are many different types of military service, with the Army arguably being the most famous. If you join the military, you could end up serving in one of the other branches, including the Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, or even in the reserves. There are many ways to be a military man or woman, but to simplify things, we'll focus on the American and British armies today. First, let's delve into how you become a soldier and what it takes to enlist. The American Army is the largest and oldest branch of the U.S. military, founded in 1775 to combat the British during the American Revolution. It is now one of the largest and certainly most powerful armies in the world, with a total personnel strength of just under 1 million. While the British have been engaged in battles for centuries, the British Army was formally established in 1660. Before that, the English Army was the most formidable military force in the region we now know as the British Isles. Despite the British Army's successes and its role in building an empire, the current British Army is relatively small, with approximately 112,000 personnel. So how do you become a soldier in one of these armies? In the United States, you must be between the ages of 18 and 35, though you can join at 17 with parental consent. A high school diploma is generally required, although most military websites state that exceptions can be made, especially if you have passed a general educational development test. Enlistees should have no more than 2 dependents and must pass a medical exam and physical tests. They also need to pass the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Test. We looked at sample test questions online, and it seems that you must have a basic understanding of English vocabulary and grammar, as well as a foundational grasp of math, science, and mechanics. Do you know the meaning of the word observe, or where the coolant flows in a car? If so, you're halfway there. Once these requirements are met, you can begin your 10 weeks of basic combat training, commonly known as boot camp. If you want to join the regular British Army, you can do so at the age of 16 without any qualifications. Remember that Brits can leave school at 15 if they don't or can't take A-levels. This might explain why the BBC reported in 2013 that 39% of new recruits to the British Army have a reading age of 11. However, to join the Officers' Corps, you do need some qualifications. The Army states that you can begin the application process before you turn 16, but if you actually join before the age of 18, you'll still need your parents' consent. You can't apply if you're older than 33. The Army recruitment site states that even criminal convictions won't prevent you from joining, as Army life is a great way to make a fresh start. You will be given medical tests and will also have to prove you're physically fit. One fitness test requires you to run 1.5 miles, 2.4 kilometers, in less than 10 minutes and 30 seconds, or 12 minutes and 45 seconds for women. You'll also have to complete 44 push-ups in less than 2 minutes. Women only need to do 21. Once you've passed these tests, you'll undergo a 20 to 40 week boot camp to learn basic skills and determine your area of specialization. Once you're in, what can you expect? In the U.S. Army, you'll receive health care, a food allowance, housing, and pay. You might also be paid more depending on your deployment location. Your wages depend on your rank, but if you're just starting out, you'll earn a basic salary of just under $2,000 a month, plus housing benefits. After 2 years of service, your pay increases. If you're deployed to a place like Afghanistan, you could receive additional deployment pay of $250 a month for being separated from your family, $150 for hazard pay, and $225 for being in the line of fire and imminent danger. British Army recruits will earn up to $24,890 a year during their extensive training. Once you're trained, you'll advance through a series of ranks, from lieutenant to second lieutenant, and earn between $33,297 and $42,669 a year for several years. A downside for British troops is that they don't seem to be paid extra for hazards or being shot at. In fact, according to recent media articles, their wages, given they often work 16 hours a day, end up being less than the British minimum wage. In both the UK and the US Army, If you stay for more than 5 years, your rank and salary will increase significantly if you perform well. With decades of service under your belt, you could achieve the rank of colonel, and in both armies, the pay is quite good. A U.S. colonel with less than 2 years in the position will earn around $91,000 a year, including benefits. A British colonel, newly promoted, will receive $109,855 a year. Brits receive a total of 6 weeks of paid vacation a year, including public holidays, while U.S. soldiers receive 30 days a year if they've worked the full year. They also receive public holidays, amounting to about the same as British soldiers. Retirement benefits are a bit more complicated, as they depend on the length of your service. In the U.S., if you've served for 20 years in the Army, you'll receive 50% of your last paycheck. So, if you earn $70,000, you'll receive around $35,000 per year for the rest of your life. If you decide to stay on each year, the 50% will increase by 2.5%. In the UK, you can wait until age 55 to collect your pension or opt to leave after 35 years and receive 50% of your final pensionable pay. Soldiers can also choose to participate in different pension schemes. A very important matter is life on the job, especially if you're working in a dangerous area. According to the U.S. Department of Defense Casualty Report, the war on terror claimed the lives of 2,350 soldiers in and around Afghanistan from 2001 to 2015. 20,092 soldiers were injured. 40 U.S. deaths and 183 wounded followed in later campaigns in the same areas. The government's effort to free Iraq resulted in 4,424 U.S. deaths and 31,954 wounded. Later campaigns in Iraq have claimed hundreds more lives. Far fewer British soldiers lost their lives in the Iraq invasion, with the number reported at 179. Less than 500 were killed in Afghanistan. The Economist reports that since 1945, a total of 7,186 British soldiers have been killed globally. The U.S. number is over 100,000 since the same date. It's also worth mentioning the mental health effects of being a soldier. Reports indicate that U.S. soldiers are 7 times more likely to develop post-traumatic stress disorder than UK soldiers, a condition well documented in books and documentaries. Experts suggest that this difference is cultural, with different cultures dealing with stress and trauma in varying ways. Apparently, the British stiff upper lip plays a role, and it seems that American soldiers express their grief, while Brits bottle it up or turn to alcohol. One American troop, after working with British soldiers in the Middle East, is quoted as saying, "Those Brits are a strange old race. They show affection by abusing each other. Will think nothing of casually stopping in the middle of a firefight for their brew up and eat food that I wouldn't give to a dying dog." He also said that he'd prefer to fight alongside those troops than any other country's soldiers. The reason, he explained, was that when the chips are down and there's no hope left, they just soldier on. This sounds appealing, and it's quoted all over the internet, but we can't confirm the original source or its veracity. So, tell us which military you would rather join, and if you've been a soldier or no one, share your thoughts in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video called Average American versus Average European. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.